The rocks beneath the Ozarks are over 1 billion years old, among the most ancient exposed surfaces on the North American continent. For millennia, this rugged plateau resisted settlement, defied road builders, and sheltered civilizations most Americans have never heard of. Then in less than a century, engineers submerged entire towns beneath man-made lakes. Promoters turned mountain hollows into entertainment empires, and a region once defined by its isolation became one of America's top vacation destinations. How the Ozarks were uncovered and reinvented is a story that begins not with tourists, but with the land itself. Long before roads or rivers shaped the Ozarks, immense forces beneath the earth lifted ancient rock toward the sky. More than 1 billion years ago, the Ozark Dome began its slow rise, pressing crystalline stone from deep within the planet to the surface. In southeastern Missouri, the St. Francois Mountains stand as silent witnesses to this upheaval, their granitic peaks dating back nearly 1.2 billion years, among the oldest exposed rocks in North America. Over countless millennia, wind and water carved these highlands into a landscape of plateaus, ridges, and deep hollows. Layers of limestone and dolostone, especially across the Springfield Plateau, dissolved under the persistent flow of water, giving birth to a world of caves, sinkholes, and springs. Today, more than 6,600 caves and countless springs define the region's character, creating a rugged terrain where water vanishes underground and reappears in sudden, brilliant bursts. The land itself, shaped by ancient upheaval and relentless erosion, set the stage for everything that followed. By AD 900, the Osage Nation had established deep roots across the Ozark Plateau, shaping the land through hunting, farming, and ceremony along the river valleys. Their territory stretched across present-day Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, with the Osage River serving as a vital artery for travel and trade. Osage oral tradition ties springs such as Mammoth Spring to healing and ritual, reflecting a relationship with the land that spanned generations. When French explorers Jacques Marquette and Louis Joliet entered the region in 1673, they recorded encounters with the Quapaw, whom they found living along the lower Arkansas River. French traders soon followed, moving goods along the Arkansas and White River systems and forging alliances with both the Osage and Quapaw. The arrival of American authority after the Louisiana Purchase brought profound change. In 1808, the Osage signed a treaty ceding over 52 million acres, an agreement followed by further land loss and forced migrations. The Quapaw, too, were pressed to surrender their homelands, culminating in removal to Indian Territory by the 1830s. Meanwhile, Cherokee families displaced from the east settled briefly in the Ozarks before their own forced removal along the Trail of Tears. Each nation navigated these upheavals as political actors, shaping and defending their homelands even as outside pressures mounted. Hidden within the folds of the Ozarks, water shapes the landscape in ways both dramatic and unseen. At Big Spring in Missouri, nearly 293 million gallons surge out of the earth each day, water that has traveled up to 50 miles underground before bursting into the open. Mammoth Spring in Arkansas, long held sacred by indigenous peoples, releases another 235 million gallons daily, feeding the clear waters of the Spring River. These springs are more than scenic marvels. They are windows into a vast hidden world of limestone chambers and shadowed passageways. In the darkness below, rare creatures like the Ozark cavefish, blind crayfish, and colonies of bats survive in fragile balance, their existence tied to the purity and quiet of these underground rivers. Above ground, the Current and White River corridors cut through forests, alive with deer, wild turkey, and songbirds. Long before brochures or billboards, the Ozarks offered a kind of refuge, wild, mysterious, and overflowing with life, a natural wonder waiting to be discovered. After the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, American settlers pushed into the Ozark Highlands, facing a landscape that offered little comfort and even less easy passage. Families carved small farms from the dense forests, building cabins along ridges and hollows where the soil allowed. These mountain communities relied on their own hands and neighbors, cut off from distant markets by rough trails and unpredictable rivers. For decades, the Ozarks remained a world apart, resourceful, isolated, and shaped by the demands of the land. Everything began to change in the 1880s. Powell Clayton, a former governor of Arkansas, organized the Eureka Springs Railway in 1882, determined to connect the mineral springs and steep hills to the outside world. The line, just 24 miles long, linked Seligman, Missouri, to Eureka Springs, Arkansas. By 1883, passenger trains were bringing visitors eager to experience the town's healing waters and dramatic scenery. Larger railroads soon followed. Missouri Pacific and Kansas City Southern laid tracks that carried timber, minerals, and people through the region. For the first time, the Ozarks were open to steady streams of outside capital and new faces, setting the stage for transformation from remote frontier to a destination on the American map. Concrete and ambition reshaped the Ozarks in the mid-20th century. The completion of Bagnell Dam in 1931, stretching 2,543 feet across the Osage River, created the Lake of the Ozarks and more than 1,150 miles of new shoreline. Towns, farms, and entire communities disappeared beneath the rising water, with at least 8 settlements lost and nearly 20,000 people forced to relocate. The pattern repeated with Bull Shoals Dam, finished in 1951 on the White River. Its reservoir, Bull Shoals Lake, added almost 1,000 miles of shoreline and transformed the northern Arkansas border into a vast recreational corridor. The most ambitious project followed, Table Rock Dam. Authorized in 1941 but delayed by war, construction finally began in 1954. By 1958, the dam stood 252 feet tall and 6,423 feet long, holding back the White River to form Table Rock Lake. Covering about 43,100 acres and boasting more than 800 miles of shoreline, Table Rock quickly became a magnet for boaters, anglers, and developers. These reservoirs did more than tame floods and generate electricity. They turned the Ozarks into a lake region as much as a mountain one, sparking a new economy based on recreation, real estate, and the promise of waterfront living. The price was steep, lost communities and altered landscapes, but the economic engine of tourism now ran on water as much as stone. By the late 1940s and 1950s, the Ozarks were no longer a distant dream for city dwellers. They were a family destination within reach of a full tank of gas. The spread of affordable automobiles transformed the region's new lakes and forested back roads into a summer playground for millions across the Midwest. Roadside motels, simple cabins, and fishing resorts sprang up along the shorelines of Table Rock, Bull Shoals, and the Lake of the Ozarks, offering families a way to escape the city heat without breaking the bank. Marinas and bait shops lined the water, while boat rentals and summer camps promised adventure for children and parents alike. Seasonal visitors became the backbone of local economies. Towns that once relied on timber or small-scale farming now thrived on tourism, with shopkeepers, guides, and cooks depending on the steady pulse of vacation traffic. The Ozarks had entered the era of the American road trip, reshaping both the landscape and the rhythms of mountain life. Branson, once a quiet Ozark town, became the epicenter of a new kind of tourism, one built on entertainment and experience. In 1934, Jim Owen opened the Hillbilly Theater, offering live performances that blended local humor, music, and storytelling. It was a modest start, but the formula proved magnetic. By 1959, the Bald Knobbers Jamboree took the stage, bringing together family musicians in a lively variety show that drew crowds from across the region. The concept was simple: authentic Ozark music, comedy, and a sense of shared fun. Audiences responded in droves. Just a year later, Silver Dollar City opened its doors, growing from the Marvel Cave tours into a full-fledged theme park inspired by frontier village life. Craftsmen demonstrated blacksmithing and glass-blowing, while rides and shops lined paths shaded by oak and hickory. The park's blend of nostalgia and spectacle transformed a natural wonder into a must-see destination for families. Branson's success inspired imitators and innovators. Theaters multiplied along Highway 76, each promising a unique show: country music, gospel, magic, or comedy. Shopping centers and attractions followed, turning the town into a year-round resort. Branson proved that the Ozarks could offer more than scenery. They could sell an experience, creating a brand that drew millions and made the region synonymous with American family entertainment. Public lands became the backbone of a new Ozark economy built on outdoor recreation. The creation of the Mark Twain and Ozark National Forests protected hundreds of thousands of acres, ensuring that vast stretches of woodland and river remained open for exploration. Hiking trails wound through oak and hickory, while campgrounds filled with families eager to sleep under the stars. Canoes and kayaks drifted down the current Buffalo and 11-point rivers, drawing paddlers from across the country. Mountain biking found a home on rugged single-track, and hunting seasons brought a steady stream of sportsmen in search of deer and wild turkey. State parks like Haha-Tonka and Roaring River offered dependable draws beyond the lake resorts, with clear springs, dramatic bluffs, and year-round events. Competitive bass fishing turned local lakes into national stages as tournaments attracted anglers and television crews. What began as a pastime matured into a business sector. Guides, outfitters, and gear shops now anchor local economies, extending the visitor season far beyond summer and broadening the Ozarks' appeal to a new generation of outdoor enthusiasts. Bridges and byways carved through the Ozarks turned a wild landscape into a network of adventure and access. The Blanchard Springs Bridge, completed in 1930, stands as an early example of engineering that respected the steep valleys and unpredictable waters of the region. Its tide arch design still carries travelers into the heart of the mountains, blending utility with the drama of the setting. Along Highway 21, the Ozark Highlands Scenic Byway winds through the Boston Mountains, following a route engineered to reveal sweeping vistas and dense forests without sacrificing the land's natural contours. These roads do more than connect towns. They draw visitors deeper into the hills, making the journey itself part of the experience. Underground, innovation met geology at Fantastic Caverns. Discovered in 1862 and opened to the public just 5 years later, it offered a rare drive-through cave tour, allowing families to explore subterranean chambers from the comfort of a tram. Rather than flattening the wildness of the Ozarks, these feats of design translated rugged country into a landscape that invites exploration while preserving its sense of wonder. The bridges, roads, and cave access points became attractions in their own right, ensuring the Ozarks remained both accessible and untamed. Old-time fiddle tunes once echoed from porches and church halls, their lively rhythms handed down through generations. Gospel hymns, sung in tight harmony, wove together neighbors and families at Sunday gatherings, shaping the region's spiritual soundscape. Pottery wheels spun in small workshops, while quilts stitched from scraps told stories of hardship and kinship across the hills. Timberwork, from hand-hewn beams to carved spoons, reflected the Ozark tradition of making do with what the land provided. These crafts and songs traveled far beyond the mountains, carried by recordings, festivals, and the memories of those who left. In recent years, the Netflix series Ozark projected the region's name into millions of homes, blending fact and fiction but locking the Ozarks into the national imagination. Culture here is more than a souvenir. It is a living thread connecting place, people, and identity. Around the major lakes, population growth pressed in from all sides. Shorelines, once dotted with family cabins and fishing camps, became crowded with new construction. Vacation homes, luxury condos, and gated communities rising where small farms and old neighborhoods once stood. As demand soared, property values in these coveted areas climbed sharply, outpacing local wages and pushing longtime residents to the margins. Land that had served as pasture, forest, or community gathering space turned into investment property, traded and subdivided for profit. The promise of prosperity brought new business and opportunity, but also strained the fabric of mountain towns. Locals found themselves competing with out-of-state buyers and developers, watching familiar woods and riverbanks give way to boat docks and manicured lawns. Access to water, trails, and hunting grounds, once taken for granted, became points of contention. In the rush to accommodate visitors and newcomers, expectations about what the Ozarks should be began to shift, setting up a new kind of frontier, one shaped by affordability, change, and the uncertain fate of the land itself. Luxury resorts now crown the hills above Table Rock Lake and the Lake of the Ozarks, offering amenities that rival major urban destinations. Golf courses, boutique wineries, and high-end spas draw visitors far beyond the summer months, turning the Ozarks into a four-season retreat. Hospitality shifted from rustic to refined as travelers began to expect curated experiences, guided fishing excursions, vineyard tastings, and chef-driven restaurants. The region's economy no longer relies on a single busy season. Conferences, weddings, and festivals fill calendars year-round. Vacationers come from across the country, attracted by both the promise of natural beauty and the comfort of modern accommodations. Tourism is now the region's economic backbone, supporting thousands of jobs and shaping the Ozarks into a destination where lifestyle and landscape are sold side by side. Efforts to protect the Ozarks rivers and wild places did not arise by chance. In the early 1960s, as plans for a dam threatened to submerge the Buffalo River, Dr. Neil Compton and a determined circle of citizens formed the Ozark Society. Their campaign sparked a groundswell of opposition, challenging the notion that every river should be harnessed for power or profit. The fight reached Washington, and in 1972, the Buffalo became the first national river in the United States, its free-flowing waters permanently safeguarded. That victory followed the creation of the Ozark National Scenic Riverways in 1964, which preserved the Current and Jacks Fork rivers and inspired the landmark Wild and Scenic Rivers Act of 1968. These models of river protection drew national attention, proving that local action could reshape federal policy. Yet the work is never finished. The Ozark cavefish, a threatened species found only in the region's fragile karst aquifers, faces ongoing risk from groundwater contamination and unchecked runoff. Conservation here means constant vigilance, managing the very springs, caves, and forests that make the Ozarks a destination and holding the line between preservation and the pressures of growth. Every year, millions of travelers return to the Ozarks, drawn by a rare blend of wild scenery and easy access. The region offers something few places can match: the freedom to paddle a quiet river in the morning, sample family recipes at a roadside cafe by noon, and catch a live show or hike a forested ridge before dusk. What keeps people coming back is not just the variety, but the way each visit feels rooted in something authentic. The Ozarks remain a place where mountain traditions, natural wonders, and modern comforts live side by side. Families find a landscape both familiar and surprising, where memories are made on trails, lakes, and town squares that still reflect the character of the hills. Even as new resorts and attractions rise, the enduring appeal lies in the land itself, unchanged in its essentials, always ready to be rediscovered. A rugged mountain wilderness became one of America's most recognizable vacation landscapes, not by accident, but through the meeting of geology, engineering, culture, and ambition. The Ozarks' transformation stands as a rare case where ancient stone, wild rivers, and deep-rooted traditions were not erased by progress, but woven into something new. Dams and highways joined hands with music halls and riverside lodges, each reshaping the hills in ways that invited millions to experience the region's beauty and spirit. Yet the story is not finished. The Ozarks remain a living case study, a place where the rewards of growth are measured against the need for stewardship and the preservation of identity. The next chapter will be written by the choices made to balance prosperity with protection, to welcome newcomers without losing the sense of place that has always defined these hills. The legacy of the Ozarks is not just in what has been built, but in how the region continues to hold on to its soul, even as it welcomes the world. Today, the Ozarks welcome over 20 million visitors each year, even as rising development and climate shifts test the balance between growth and preservation. The region's story is still unfolding, etched in stone, river, and memory. What we choose to protect now will define the Ozarks for generations. The next chapter, as always, is shaped by those who call these hills home. Share your perspective in the comments below.